Boondocking is amazing and we love it, but it can be super stressful if you don't have enough batteries to be able to run your stuff.
And how many batteries are enough? There's a lot of questions there. And should you use AGM? Should you use lithium? Does Duracell make them? How about AA's? Like, there's a lot of questions. We're gonna give you the details of our system and why we love it, why it's working so well for us, and why we're now finally enjoying boondocking. Come back. Don't leave. Now come back. See you in a minute.
It's great until you ruined it. Question is, how many batteries do you need to be able to run everything that you want to run while you're boondocking?
That's a great question. That's called the draw. It's important to know what all you're looking to draw from the batteries to know how long they're going to last and if you're going to run out before you actually want to run out.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, batteries are set up in what we call amp hours. Ours are 500 amp hours, so if you picture an appliance you plug in that runs for an hour pulling 20 amps, then that's going to be 20 amps per hour. So you could do the math and figure out how long you could run that before your batteries drain down. Now, here's the important part. There's a big difference between a 12 volt appliance and a 120 volt appliance or draw. For instance, the air conditioner pulls about 20 amps, maybe 18 to 20 depending on what type of unit you have, but it's in 120 volts, which means it is 10 times the draw on the battery.
Oh, wow.
So if you're running a 20 amp air conditioner, but on the 120 volt side, you're actually pulling 200 amp hours.
Oh,
so
wow.
On a 500 amp hour battery, you're not gonna run very long with that.
It's gonna drain it fast.
So it's important to understand, if you plug something in an outlet while you're boondocking, while you're pulling from the battery, you're pulling on the 120 volt system. Anything that's plugged into an outlet is 120 volts. The DC voltage, the 12 volts, that's usually running with the small little LED lights you have. The furnace usually runs on that. Sometimes other appliances will be on that, but anything you can run on the 12 volt system is much better than the 120 volt. The important thing to remember is that when you're boondocking, you're pulling off the battery and you want to pull the least amount you can so it lasts a long time. So avoid plugging anything into the 120 volt system that you don't need, or that you could use a 12 volt version instead. For instance, if you had a light that you plug into an outlet, that's going to pull 10 times the amps as a standard 12 volt light in the ceiling. So you got to make sure that you're thinking about how your draw is happening and which voltage you're using when you're plugging things in.
So in other words, just avoid plugging things into an outlet as much as possible.
Yes.
There are different types of batteries, so how do we know which battery to get?
That's a good question. The AGM batteries, which are like your car batteries, have certain values, and then lithium batteries, which are most commonly used with solar stuff, have their own pros and cons as well. The general consensus is the lithium batteries are superior because they hold a longer charge. But if you're going to do a lot of boondocking in really cold weather, then lithium doesn't really work as well as AGM. So you might have to do a little research on that. We use the Go Power lithium batteries, the 250 amp hour ones. They're really good, they last a long time, and they hold a really good charge.
All right, my next question is, how long does it take to charge the batteries?
There are many different scenarios that you got to consider. In our situation, we have 4 panels at 190 watts a piece that produce about 9.4 amps. So there is a math calculation you can do, and you can go online and really find those easily. But basically it takes us anywhere from 6 to 8 hours to charge our batteries from the lowest point. Now they're never going to be at zero. Our batteries cut out before they get to zero because it's really bad for the batteries to get down there. So you're probably going to have the lowest be 20 to 30%. So it takes us about 6 to 8 hours, depending on the sun, to boost those batteries all the way up. Now, if for whatever reason we don't have the sun that day, we just plug in our generator. We've got a small 30 amp generator, and we run that for a couple hours and it charges them right up. Okay, last question here. How much do the batteries weigh?
Well, I happen to know that answer, and each battery weighs 80 pounds, and we have 2 of them. So that is 160 pounds less clothes and shoes that I can carry with us.
But we do have lights at night, and we get to boondock, so there is a trade-off there. All right, quick recap. Getting the right type of battery is really important. The right amp hours is really important. But just remember to not try to get the most you want, because at the end of the day, it's still gonna cost you something. There's gonna be a lot of weight involved, and you're not really looking to run everything you own at the same time, especially if you're boondocking. The whole concept is getting out in nature, enjoying the outdoors, so you won't need 1,000 amp hours in order to enjoy the weather.
Hey, if this video was helpful for you, we would love to hear from you, so leave us a comment and tell us what you think.
We're gonna continue this series on solar, our solar setup and boondocking. So definitely follow along, hit that like button, hit the follow button, and we'll tell you all about what we're doing, and we look forward to seeing you on the road.